It's Sterling away from... Oh, Price! The tackle has been picked up by Stone. Dunn is screaming at Price. Price on the ground. And the tackle catching him across the chin area.
Welcome back to League Life. Well, it wasn't so long ago that it was considered a badge of honour. No matter how hard you were hit, you got back up again and fought on for your team. For Parramatta's Ray Price, it was no different. He lost count the number of head knocks he had in his illustrious career. Recently, though, his family have noticed some failings in his memory. So as Ray always did as a player, he wanted to face things head on. League Life was there yesterday when Ray underwent a brain assessment.
Wilton, away to Reddy. One-handed pass out to Price. He's got support. He jumps back inside. Going strongly. He's in for a try. An incredible try.
It was tough, but, you know, that's what the game is. The game is tough. You know, it's not for the weak-hearted, but, you know, it could have been mellowed down a little bit had the referees done what they were supposed to do, and that was control the game. And I at no time reckon that the referees controlled the game because they just let people bash people. That was it.
So what went on in the middle when you played 11 years of rugby league?
Well, if you weren't looking, they'd bash you in the head. High tackles were so... People probably think they were creative. You know, it was just... I could still hurt someone without going high. And that's what you had to do. I got concussed a few times, but it didn't deter me any. I still wanted to play.
So you have felt the need to have testing. Why was that?
Well, I have been forgetting a couple of things here and there. My mother had dementia, so anyway, yeah. I'll find out one way or the other.
Yeah. So you've got it in your family. Are you a firm believer that rugby league wouldn't have contributed to any of that?
I think rugby league, if I've got anything, I think rugby league would have contributed to that because of the high tackles and that in it. I'm not here to prove anything, I just want to prove it for myself.
Yeah. You want to know where you stand.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how long I'm going to be standing for.
Yeah. Let's go and have a look.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see what it is and why all my family seem to think that I've got dementia. That I've got dementia. You ask them, they'll tell you. So I'd just rather find out if I have or if I haven't.
Okay, so Ray, it's a pleasure to meet with you today. I understand you've had some concerns about your memory, or perhaps your family have?
Well, yeah, my family have. My brothers and sisters and also my wife's been concerned, so...
Right, what sort of things have they been worried about?
Oh, just that I keep forgetting things.
You've had a series of concussions, I understand, during your career, mate.
Oh, I had my fair share, yeah.
How many would you estimate, do you think, roughly?
Well,
so symptoms after
I
a head knock?
16 years, yeah, probably a couple of seasons.
Right. Any headaches at the moment affecting you?
No.
None of that? Any trouble with your focus or your concentration, your attention?
Probably a focus on a couple of things, but yeah, not a real lot on that.
Okay, and how's your mood in general?
My moods are all right.
Yes.
Other people might say they're not, but yeah, I think they're all right.
Okay, so it seems like it's mainly the memory that's been jumping out as an issue for you.
Yeah.
Okay. We may do some testing of you, ask you a few questions and see what your thinking's like. That all right?
That's all right.
Okay. Apple, table, penny. Can you say those?
a penny on the table with an apple.
You're a strategist. How do you spell world backwards? The world that we
Spelling
live
is
in.
my W-O-R-L-D.
Yes, spell it backwards.
Oh, D-L-R-O-W.
Fantastic. What were those 3 new words I asked you to remember?
Now, that might get me. Apple,
Good.
penny,
Yes.
table.
Good. Tell me, how many dots in this box here?
8,
Yes. This one here?
10,
This one here?
7,
And the last one?
9.
Good. What we see in the brain is some changes of volume in general. There is comment on the sort of memory areas, in particular the hippocampi we call them, in the temporal lobes or the side lobes of the brain. As we get older, our risk of dementia does go up. Dementia is the broad umbrella term that we use for any trouble with the neurons over time in the brain. There are no sort of changes of scarring that might represent a big head injury previously. Ultimately, we need to see you over time, because I can only understand these sorts of changes through seeing you over the course of a year or so. What we have in Australia is the Australian Sports Brain Bank. So we are studying people both in life and then those who wish to pledge and donate their brains. We're looking at any changes under the microscope and really trying to answer these sorts of questions for players, retired players and the general public.
So Rowena, we saw there was some change in Ray's scans. In layman's terms, he's had some change around the temples, and as a non-expert you'd think, well, have concussions playing rugby league for so many years contributed to that? Is that a sound conclusion?
It's understandable to think in those terms, but I guess to a neuroscientist it doesn't all link up in that way. We don't have clear area of impact relating to dementia-type symptoms. The changes in Ray's brain may represent something completely different outside of concussion and that burden of concussion. So he's going to require more testing and a close watch over time, because ultimately we do need to watch players over time. That's part of good clinical care and also the research that's going on in this area. When
Someone who played the game 20, 30 years ago comes to you presenting with symptoms of short-term memory loss, is that a common theme? Absolutely. I think there are many more people are watching their memory in general. Many of us are wondering, is our short-term memory loss meaningful? Does it mean I'm on a path to dementia or not? The fact that you played rugby or sustained concussions, sometimes many concussions or frank head injuries, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be an issue of dementia. And I think we need to be aware that every individual must be assessed as an individual, as a person, look at their whole life and their burden of other risk factors for dementia. And as I say, again, we need further work in this field. It's quite frustrating that we don't have all the answers yet, but we are working hard to deliver those answers.
You know, I found out I'm not as bad as my in-laws, my sibling brothers and sisters think. But, it's up to me. I'm working on it too.
Any element of relief for you today?
Yeah, a little bit. She didn't tell me I had dementia, definitely. There has been some change, but, yeah, there's change in everyone, so... And it happens with old age. I don't see myself as getting old, but... it's just one of those things. You just have to take it on the chin and take another step forward.
Dr. Mobbs talked to you about the movement of people that are donating their brain for research. Have you thought about that? Is that something you'd be interested in?
Well, my brain's not going to do me any good when I'm dead, so, yeah, I'll go home and have a talk with my wife, and, yeah, I can't see why not.
Thank you to Ray Price for allowing us to be there with him yesterday. He hopes that by sharing his story, it will remove the stigma and some of the fear around the game of being tested.